concept. When I read it, I deemed this the best black removal spell on Pioneer that is not Fatal Push.
100% true.
And it has 2 modes. Mode 1 is destroy target creature with no counters on it. Mode 2 is remove up to 3 counters from target creature. In Eternal formats, or Eternal-ish formats like Pioneer, the downside of creatures not having counters on them
almost non-existent.
There was another 2-mana one with a downside. Was it Doomblade?
Ultimate Price? Yeah.
Right.
There was also...
But they all had like a downside that was like a huge glaring downside that would just like blow you up sometimes. And this downside is more narrow.
Yeah, a lot more narrow.
And unless like these ability counters come into Pioneer, this card just straight up, 1 in the black, kill something.
Yeah, and like in the deck where, you know, creatures are going to have counters on them or whatever, even though it's not great, it's not going to be a dead card then, because you can strip the counters off something.
Yeah, like if they play like a Walking Ballista with 3 counters on it, you're just like, cool, remove the 3 counters off your Ballista. You take 3 damage, but fine.
This is also like randomly going to come up in Standard, at least, with the Sarkhan decks. Can remove the loyalty counters off whatever creature, because it's now a dragon. So you might potentially be able to kill a creature that's actually a planeswalker by pulling all the loyalty off of it.
That is super interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
And in Standard, again, with Wizards pumping all of the complexity into this set. I'm also probably going to need this card as an altar, with the guy holding the sword altered into like Joe Exotic.
Bubble, take this, Carol Baskin.
It's the Muras Carol Baskins.
Next up, one that you put on here, Hunted Nightmare.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a great card or not, but it's costed very aggressively. Like, the downside might not be a downside. So Hunted Nightmare is 1 black for a 4/5 with Menace. Big beat stick with evasion. And it says, when Hunted Nightmare enters the battlefield, target opponent puts a death touch counter on a creature they control. Because it has Menace, they have to have another creature in order for the death touch to matter. And if you're in black, you're already running a bunch of removal anyway, so the death touch counter might not ever matter.
Yeah, because they have to have 2 creatures to be able to block it. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that it's necessarily like gonna spawn a new archetype or anything, but it's a solid role filler. Like, if there's any kind of aggro slanted mid-range blacklist.
Yeah, and if you're playing like black, you definitely play a lot of removal. Like, you could have a curve of turn 2 removal spell, turn 3 4/5 menace. That's the curve you wanted anyway. So remember the like super fringy tier like G tech of some random Ravnica creature that when it comes into play, target opponent makes like 2 green things or something that have pro black. It was some undercosted black creature that was like target opponent makes something that can kill your creature. Okay. This is target opponent. So like if they like have a ley line out or some way they can't be targeted,
you can't target them.
It turns off their ability to do this. So like, I'm going to play ley line against your Thoughtseize deck. Cool. Yeah. Hunted Nightmare, turn 3, beats, let's go.
How does this interact with Veil of Summer? Like if your opponent Veil of Summers, you can't target them, right?
Yeah, so like you go to Thoughtseize them and they're like Veil, and you're like, cool, Hunted Nightmare, let's go.
Very strange.
Yeah, it only took them a year to print the counter to Veil of Summer.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have Veil of Summer. So yeah, next up is another one of the Mythos cards with the sweet cave painting art. And this one is right up my alley. It's a Mythos of Nethroi. It's 2 and a black for an instant. It says destroy target non-land permanent if it's a creature, or if green-white was spent to cast this spell. So it's 2 and a black, destroy a creature, or black, green, white, destroy a non-land permanent.
This came up in our chats. The templating's weird because you choose targets before you pay. So you can, especially like on Arena, be mindful of this. You can target a non-creature, but if you don't have green, white, black pay, you won't do anything. You'll just put your card in the graveyard. So even like in limited, if you're black-blue, it's destroy target creature for 3 mana.
Which is still fine.
Yeah, which is still fine. You 100% play that card. If you're Abzan, destroy anything. It's like Maelstrom Pulse, basically.
Yeah, and that's what I had compared it to. A lot of times when you cast Maelstrom Pulse, sure, once in a while you're going to get to tag 2 things with the same name, but the majority of the time when you cast Maelstrom Pulse, like you're casting it just to kill one thing. You brought it in because it's a universal answer to planeswalkers, artifacts, enchantments, whatever. Most of the time when you cast it, you're only looking to tag one thing. And this is just Maelstrom Pulse at that point. So like in powered down formats like Pioneer Standard, this is like 99% of Maelstrom Pulse.
Yeah, it is a little restrictive on the mana, but we also for a while have like Paradise Druid, so you can be green-black and still have access to white through Paradise Druid.
Yeah, and there's also some other reasons why you might want to be Abzan colors. We're going to talk about them a little bit later. And I have in our show notes here that if Abzan is viable, this is like the best removal spell you can run. I think that's what's going to determine if this card is good or not, is if Abzan is a viable deck choice.
We'll have to wait and see. They have kind of pushed all the 3-color wedges.
Yep.
With some spells we'll get to here in a second.
Yep.